Are 1982 Topps baseball cards your favorite of all time? If so, I'd wager you're among only a handful of collectors who can actually make that claim. Maybe that's the consequence of weighty expectations. After a so-so set in 1981, the first year of renewed competition on the heels of 25 years of monopoly, Topps needed a home run to make sure Fleer and Donruss stayed at arm's length, and none of the 1982 sets blew anyone away. Still, as the years have passed, the nuances of the 1982 Topps set, crisp photos, lots of action shots, even the double hockey stick design have set it apart from its long ago competitors. And coming as it did right before the true hobby boom and led by a Hall of Fame rookie card, the 1982 Topps is no junk wax pablum. In fact, big name cards from the set in nice grades can bring top dollars in today's market. Here is a quick rundown of those most valuable 1982 Topps baseball cards based on recent sales and presented in numerical order. Cal Ripken Jr. came on the baseball scene with a lot of hype as the son of a major league coach and a big second-round shortstop out of high school, who only seemed to get better as he climbed the minor league ladder. The Iron Man lived up to his billing right away and never really stopped. 1982 American League Rookie of the Year, 1983 American League Most Valuable Player Award, 1991 American League MVP, The Streak, a plaque in Cooperstown. Along the way, Ripken lifted his cardboard into hobby stardom, beginning with his 1982 Topps Base rookie card that he shared with Bobby Bonner and Jeff Schneider. Once the absolute hottest card in the hobby, this classic rookie card often sells for under $10 in decent raw condition, but reaches $50 or more in PSA 9, as well into three figures, often more than $500 for PSA 10 copies. Tom Seaver was once a phenom too. He also lived up to the hype. Among Seaver's hardware were the 1967 National League Rookie of the Year Award and Cy Youngs in 1969, 1973, and 1975. That first Cy Young Award helped the awful New York Mets turn into the amazing Mets, who won the 1969 World Series. And Seaver's second Cy Young season helped the Mets get to the 1973 series. A 300-game winner who also pitched with the Cincinnati Reds and a handful of other teams at the end of his career, Tom Terrific is an all-time great whose cards remain popular all these decades later. His 1982 card sells for around $1 ungraded, but can fetch as much as $10 in PSA 9. By 1982, most of the fans thought Nolan Ryan was heading around the bend of his career at age 35. Little did they know all the thrills the big Texan had left in his holster. More strikeouts, more no-hitters, more wins, more punches to Robin Ventura's head. All of it was still to come, and Ryan's exploits well into the 1990s would drag his card to the top of the hobby mountain. This 1982 Topps card, featuring the Astros rainbow, comes in under $5 raw, but PSA 9 and 10s can stretch towards $20 and $150 respectively. The Wizard of Oz spent the first 4 seasons of his career patrolling shortstop for the San Diego Padres, where he developed a reputation as an acrobatic glovesman with a weak bat. All that changed when the Pads dealt Smith with Steve Mura and Alan Olmstead to the St. Louis Cardinals in exchange for Luis de Leon, Sexto Liscano, and shortstop Gary Templeton in December 1981. It was a challenge traded SS for SS. The Cardinals won hands down as Ozzie reeled off a string of 12 more gold gloves, helped St. Louis become perennial contenders who won the 1982 World Series, beefed up his offense prowess, and made it all the way to Cooperstown. His last Topps Padres card is a $1 to $2 item ungraded, but can bring $25 or more in PSA 9 and north of $250 in perfect 10 condition. Mike Schmidt was just the greatest third baseman of all time, and many folks had already come to that conclusion by the time his 1982 Topps card hit collectors' hands. 2 National League MVP awards, a string of gold gloves, Plenty of postseason glory and scads of monstrous home runs tend to elevate your profile after all. Schmidt's cards went right to the top of the ladder with him, and today this portrait shot can bring well over $100 in PSA 10, even though PSA 9s are under $10 and raw copies come in at around $1. For years, Reggie was the straw that stirred the drink, first for the Oakland A's and then for the New York Yankees. He was Mr. October, for God's sakes, and the World Series, they just seemed to follow him from town to town. Heck, the man even had his own candy bar. In January of 1982, though, Reggie was turning the corner into the stretch run of his career, and he signed as a free agent with the California Angels. Though Reggie and the Halos would taste some success over the next several seasons, it was never quite as resounding as his historic runs with the A's and the Yanks. And he never made another New York cardboard appearance. This last Yankees card is a $1 to $2 buy that can climb into the $10 range for PSA 9 copies. This list seems to have its share of best ever position players, and Johnny Bench certainly fills that bill at catcher. From the 1968 National League Rookie of the Year to National League Most Valuable Player awards in 1970 and 1972, to being the field general for the Big Red Machine, Bench is a bona fide baseball legend with unmatched pedigree behind the plate. No surprise, then, that his cards remain popular even today, 35 years after his retirement. This 1982 close-up, where Bench may be channeling a future version of Peyton Manning, goes for a couple of bucks in ungraded and $10 to $15 in PSA 9. In the spring of 1982, when this third-year Rickey Henderson card was issued, the Man of Steel was not quite yet the Man of Steel. Sure, he had swiped 100 bases in 1980 before the 1981 strike sapped everyone's numbers. But in 1982, that was the year he'd break Lou Brock's single-season record for stealing 130. From there, it was a 20-year sprint to the Hall of Fame for the man many considered to be the best leadoff hitter of all time. No one combined Henderson's speed, patience, power, and hot dogness with such aplomb. His 1982 Topps card comes in at a few dollars raw and $10 to $15 in PSA 9. For a while it seemed as if Carl Yastrzemski might play forever. That didn't quite turn out to be the case, of course, and this 1982 card ended up being the second to the last Topps issue for Yaz's long and storied career. The 1967 American League Most Valuable Player and Triple Crown winner will forever be a fan and hobby favorite. And this particular card trades at about $25 in PSA 9 and can reach heights of $200 plus in PSA 10. Ungraded copies remain affordable at $1. Love him or hate him, there's no denying that Pete Rose was a vital part of the baseball landscape during the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. By the time this 1982 Topps card found its way to collectors, Rose was well into his tenure with the Philadelphia Phillies after a storied run with his hometown Cincinnati Reds, and Charlie Hustle had built a huge fan base across the country. Many of his supporters remain convinced today that the all-time hit king belongs in the Hall of Fame, and that support, along with the controversy that continues to follow Pete, keeps his cards near the top of hobby price lists. This 1982 issue, featuring a crouching Rose at first base, runs from about $1 ungraded up to $100 plus in PSA 10. Like our video? Then like our video and subscribe to our channel, waxpackgods.com.